Hello and welcome to the Application 5 walkthrough for our Upward Bound Integrated Math 2. What I want to do today is talk about a couple of these problems and kind of give you my best advice on how to complete it. So if we remember in the Day 5 notes, we were dealing with substitution. So that's what I'm going to focus on today. You may find an easier way to solve these systems of equations that don't require substitution. Maybe elimination would work, but I'm going to set us up to be able to solve these using substitution. So for the first one, I look at, I could probably solve this first equation for either x or y. And I would recommend, this is just my recommendation, I would recommend probably solving it for x. And the way I'm going to do that is subtract y from both sides. That's a great y. I love that. So I'm going to subtract y from both sides. So I'm going to get x equals, and I'm going to write this a little bit different than I usually do, but it equals 12 minus y. Okay? So that's what x equals. I'm going to then substitute that in for x in the second equation. So I'll get my 12 minus y. And again, I should put that in parentheses. It doesn't actually matter on this one because there's nothing being multiplied by x. But it does help me out to know where my substitution took place. Plus 3 halves y equals 3 halves. Now in doing this, I'm going to get 12. To combine my y's here, I have 3 halves y minus 1y. That's going to be a positive 1/2 y. And that's going to equal 3 halves. And then I'll have to subtract 12 from both sides. And so I'll get 1/2 y. When I subtract 12, that's like subtracting 24 over 2. Just to find my common denominators. And that's going to give me, what, 21 over 2? So let me go back and actually keep my coloring the same. Sorry, negative 21 over 2. And then to undo this, all I have to do is multiply by 2. So I'll multiply by 2. That's going to cancel those 2's out, and I just get y equals negative 21. Okay. And then again, I'm using substitution, so I'm actually going to use the equation that I came up with to find x. X is going to equal 12 minus, again, I'm using parentheses, and it's actually important on this one to remember that you're actually plugging in a negative 21. And so that's going to tell me that I really have x equals 12 plus 21, or 33. So my answer for this one would be 33 and negative 21. Okay. I'm going to let you do the next one. I don't know if it's much easier. The one thing I will help you out with is I can go ahead and solve one of the equations for one of the variables. I'm going to solve this one for y. When I solve it for y, my first step gives me a negative y equals, let's say, negative 3 halves x plus 4. And then to get rid of this negative or just make it a positive y, I just changed the signs on everything on the other side as well. So 3 halves x minus 4. It's not a wonderful problem by any means. It's doable. You can do it. Just take it one step at a time. Take your time. And this may be the hardest problem on this page. I don't really know. But you are dealing with fractions. I know that that can be cumbersome and kind of a pain, but you can do it. Okay? Focus on the task at hand, and you can get that done. All right. The next problem here has a little graphic to help set it up. It says, in one day, the National Civil Rights Museum in Tennessee collected $1,590 from 321 people. So I think those are probably important facts, mainly because they're numbers, that were admitted to the museum. The price of an adult, the price of each adult admission is $6. People with the ages 4 to 7 pay child admission, so child admission of $4. And find the number of adults and children that went to the museum that day. And we're really looking for the paying customers. Obviously, 0 to 3 they don't pay, but we're just looking for the number of paying customers. So, looking at what we have here, the two equations that we're going to set up are the number, and one of them is the number of adults plus the number of children equals the total number admitted. I know that, in fact, in everything in this, everything that's has a white background is something that I know. So this is 321 for the number of people that came in. And then the number of adults, notice that's the same in both equations. And then the price of an adult admission is $6. Number of children, same as that one. And they pay $4. And the total amount collected was $1,590. Okay, so what this is trying to get you to see, and not only that, but in our find sentence, it says find the number of adults and children that went to the museum on that day. Again, I'm looking for the number of adults and the number of children. So I'm going to let those be my variables. I'm going to let this be an A for adults and a C for children, adults, and children. So my two equations, one of them is going to be A plus C equals 321. That's my top equation. I'm going to kind of rearrange the order a little bit just to make it a little more user-friendly here on the second one. I'm going to say 6 times the number of adults plus 4 times the number of children is going to equal my 1,590. Okay. Again, it's asking you to use it or solve it using substitution, so we should do that. I'll solve this one for either A or C. It's about the same. Let's solve it for A. In order to do that, I would subtract C from both sides. So let's say 321 minus C. Okay. Now you would take this and plug it in for A, solve your system of equations. It's going to take a little bit of work, but it's doable. I would say it's, even though the numbers are a little bit bigger, I think it's easier than this problem up here. So give that a shot and see how you do. The last one, same kind of thing. I did kind of set you up with a way to kind of write the equations. But it says here that Mr. Gall created 2 new Twitter accounts, one for himself at CoachGall54 and one for the North Bend High School football team at TGWB Football. The followers for the accounts are as follows. So for the personal one, there are currently 400 followers and the number of followers increases at a rate of 25 per month. So I think those are some important numbers. And then for the football one, it currently has 200 followers, so a couple less, but it increases at a rate of 50 per month. And then it says that we want to solve the system of equations. Okay, we're solving for total followers and the number of months, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But let's go ahead and write these equations. So the couple things that I know current followers for both accounts, and I know monthly increase for both accounts. Okay, that's what all these things that I underlined give me. So maybe I'll let total followers be T for total, and number of months, let's go with M for months. But those are going to be my variables. So my first equation is going to be T equals the current followers for the Coach Gall is 400. So 400 plus the monthly increase is 25. So 25 times M. And for the other one, the total number of followers is currently 200 plus 50 per month. And there we go. Now, what is this actually going to find? Now, you should be able to solve this system of equations. They're both written in kind of slope-intercept form. They both say T equals. So as a strategy for solving this, maybe take this piece right here and plug it in for T in the previous equation. So you'd come up with something like 200 plus 50M equals 400 plus 25M. Now what's that going to do? Okay, that should give you a way to solve it. At least find M and then use that in one of the equations to figure out what T is. This is commonly done in math for one reason. What this is going to tell me is when the total followers are equal relative to the number of months. Basically, it's going to tell me after how long, after how much time goes by, are the two accounts going to have the same number of followers, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of amazing that we could be able to tell that just from these kind of 4 pieces of information. We could tell that how many months it's going to take for the two accounts to be the same, and what that total number of followers will be. That's a pretty awesome result. And more commonly, this is done to say if I've got the let's say this one, I don't like that. Let me use 2 different colors here. We haven't used green, so let me use the personal one in green and the football one in purple. That's kind of against some rules, but we won't talk about that. If we were to look at these graphs, okay, I've had my personal one for longer than the football one, so it's obvious that it starts at a higher baseline. From where we're starting right now, it starts a little bit higher, and it grows so much every month, and it looks like that. What this would actually tell me is, since the football one starts lower but grows faster, this could tell me at what point the football account has more followers, and if these rates continue, they will continue to have more followers. So it'll tell me 2 things. It'll tell me when they have the same number of followers and how many followers that would be. And also it would say that after that football account's always going to have more if they stay at this rate. And sure, you can go follow both of these if you want to, but they're pretty dead Twitter accounts, so I wouldn't worry about it right now. I don't need the pat on the back of getting more followers from Upward Bound students, but feel free. Anyways, that being said, hopefully that helps you with this application. Good luck. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in class, and have a good day.